name is Srini Reddy. I'm a professor of marketing in the Business School. I also head the Center for Marketing. Okay. And this is a seminar series that we start each year. We usually have about 10 of these seminar series speakers. And so we try to actually ask people of significance in the industry who are actually looking at things very, very differently and also bring that experience to the students and our SMU community. And so today it's my distinct pleasure to actually have Cheryl. Cheryl has an interesting sort of a background. Okay? So though the title deals with PR on public relations, but as I look through her profile, she looks like she's a serial entrepreneur. So she's a co-founder of Cyan Communications, and currently working with Axis. How do you say X-axis? X-axis. X-axis, like as opposed to Y-axis, right? It's a WPP-owned company, so it's quite interesting that she's running things on her own and at the same time being able to work on things. And I think one of the things maybe she will talk about is she started recently founded a tech startup called My Jobs Shop. Is that right? My Job Shop, which is due to be launched this month. So to me, that's the exciting part. I mean, she sort of combines the experience in marketing. And I just looked at her. I saw the picture, but when I saw her in person today, yeah, she's too young to do all of these. But anyway, so she has worked with companies like Bates Asia, Channel News Asia, and Rubicam, and so on, and has deep experience with a lot of companies in Singapore, like Barclay, Reebok, and so on. So without much ado, I'd like to actually invite her up before you and talk about. I know you changed the title a little bit, right?
Actually, a little bit.
So,
Yes.
Very good. Getting attention is what we're going to talk about. Welcome, Cheryl.
Okay, just want to say thanks to everyone for coming during your lunchtime, and I do feel a bit of pressure because there's a marketing professor, and I think some of you are yourselves here expert in marketing, to be sitting there while I'm sharing my point of view. So please be kind. Okay, let's just get this out. So today, the topic when I was chatting with him was to talk about marketing. How has that changed? And also, in a way, because of the different roles that I hold right now, as he mentioned, I'm the founder of a boutique PR agency, but at the same time, I'm also the PR and marketing regional director for Axis, which is, as he mentioned, a programmatic company of WPP, which I'm sure you know WPP is a company that owns Ogilvy and Young Rubicam and Hilo Motor and all. And I will not go into what programmatic is today because that's not the agenda, but I mean, we can always have a chat later on. So, public relations, as we all know, it's all about building reputation, earning understanding with the general public, whether it's media, your target audience. But the thing is, this was what it was before. A lot of things have changed, and what I'm going to do is explore the different changes that have come about, whether it's people's behavior or technological advancements, and how some of these changes have gone faster than sometimes, in my own experience, clients are more willing to go along with it, and how we can actually change that. Okay, so public relations, when dial-up was still the norm. How many of you have used dial-up for internet, by the way? And instead of asking you for your age, I thought I'll ask that. But yes, when I used dial-up, that was when whenever my mother wants to find out what I'm doing, she just needs to call home. The moment she can't get through, I'm in trouble. Yeah, so I always time it such that I know she's in a meeting before I get on the internet, IRC and all. But some of you may not know what I'm talking about. But before it got to that, it was very old school. We all know that PR was all about writing press releases, content, article, editorial, and then getting the CEO, the VP and all on events, awards, anything for recognition, and of course CSR. People actually, in loose form, people always said PR is like free advertising. So and funnily up to this point, I still have clients coming up to me and say, I have zero budget. What can you do for me? Like, I spent everything on my TVC, on my digital, social media. When it comes to PR, I want to announce this, but I have no budget for you. So the thing is, there's really no such thing as no budget, unfortunately, because even content generation and all, or even putting together a media kit where you want to send clients or media something, whether it's a hat or products, you still require some budget that goes into it. So that's what we're here to explain, how things have changed and we should start looking in that direction. And also back then, Dala era, everybody always say that PR people are the whole glam, shishi, because we make friends with the media. And to be honest, there was a point of time where the TV media, the print media, the radio media was really your best friend as a PR practitioner, because you really want to get your media hit, you have to get your media coverage. You don't get it, you don't really want to have to answer to your clients why you didn't get anything, and you go for drinks, buy them lunches, dinners, and all. It was a lot simpler, old school, but then it came the age where 10 gigabyte isn't enough. So when I say 10 gigabyte, because we're constantly on Snapchat, Vine, Facebook, Instagram, 10 gigabyte really isn't enough. Well, that's why I survive a lot on Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi's. Okay, so then this came up. When we talk about, initially it was Blogspot, WordPress. You get people like Xia Xue, Don Young. All of a sudden, a simple girl in a flat in her room, writing something, becomes really popular. All of a sudden, her thoughts matter, right? And then you have Facebook, Twitter, Weibo, all sorts of social media platforms that come out, and then all this like SBAG, SMRT feedback, people generating their own content. And then, of course, with YouTube and Snapchat, all of a sudden, your celebrities aren't just Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. Your celebrities are someone who's probably living two train stations away from you. So your target audience, the people who you should be talking to, or the number of people who can actually talk about your brand has all of a sudden increased. But the thing is, how do you reach out to them? What are the things you should actually look out for? So, as I mentioned, your journalists, editors, event organizers, please feature my CEO, get him on the stage, let him speak and all. But all of a sudden, it went crazy. You're talking to not just journalists and editors, but bloggers, event organizers, KOLs. I separated them as bloggers because sometimes when we go for events, some bloggers don't like to be called bloggers. They say, oh, I'm a KOL, and the media doesn't want to be in the same room as KOLs or bloggers because they don't see them as genuine journalists. So I just put everything up there. Okay, and then you have celebrities, and then government bodies. Of course, government bodies and all. That's where you have public affairs. That's we'll come separately on that. Basically, everyone now matters. You can't just focus and think that you're best friends with the 8 Days reporter or the writer, because the thing is, the 8 Days reporter, writer, or even 8 Days itself probably has only 20,000 followers on Facebook or Instagram. But you have people like Drea Chong. Who knows Drea? Yeah. Okay, Drea is a very popular traveler, blogger, KOL, and on Instagram she's about 247,000 followers. Not bad for someone from Singapore, right? So all of a sudden, there are a lot of other people who matter more than just your traditional journalists. Okay, and then shit's got real. Not just the people or the emergence of your KOLs and your Drea Chongs and whatnot. There are also the thing where we have to take in consideration that this multi-device, people used to have just one phone or one laptop. I have two handphones, partly because one for this work and one's for the other work. But then again, how many of you have an iPad, a laptop, an iPhone, maybe also an Android because you want to try certain apps? The thing is, to have conversations with people, you realize that they're not just on one mobile or one device. And the thing is, the things they do on each device are different. I could be shopping online for clothes on my desktop, but my eventual sale conversion comes through on mobile, right? So that also you have to think about when you do whatever PR campaign or press releases and all. How do you, first of all, they always say make your press releases and all mobile friendly and all, but at the same time, Are you putting the right message on the right platform that reaches people at the right time? And then, this is a big problem, ad blocking. I work in programmatic at Xaxis, and it's a very big problem for us and for a lot of brands, because people there are about 419 million smartphone users in the world who have installed ad blockers. And what this actually means is that PR is a lot more important than it was before. I'm not saying it just because I run a PR agency and I do PR, but because if people are blocking ads, how else are you going to reach out to consumers, right? And I think, and the problem with ad blocking is not a lot of marketing people or PR people realize the gravity of it, the seriousness of it, because it does impact a bigger food chain, of course, which I will not go into, but ad blocking is one thing you have to think about when crafting your messages to make sure that it's relevant so that people don't block you out. And then attention span. We have so many platforms, devices. You know, it used to be easier to get people's attention, but these days, much harder. You know, how many of you, when you come across an ad on YouTube, you click on, you're just waiting for the skip ad button to come out, right? So I do that, I'm guilty of that. So how do you make sure that within the first 3 or 5 seconds, or within the first paragraph of your article or your press release, you get the media's attention, you get the KOL's attention for them to want to feature you? Because to be honest, no one has even when I was working with MediaCorp and I had people sending me press releases, if I don't understand what you're trying to do within the first few lines, I usually just pass on the press release, because it's too much time and effort for me to have to skim through it, especially if you tell me it's urgent. So attention span. And then exposure, of course, digital platforms we spoke about just now, social media, different types that you have. And then trolls, keyboard warriors, right? They're pretty scary. They can destroy you, and if they want to destroy you, they will. But at the same time, we had some of our clients, they come to us because on their Facebook pages, they make it public, right? So they get people throwing accusations at them or telling them like, oh, I had this Crocs sandals for a year and it's worn out. Your product quality is so bad. And then, but the thing is, he has had it for a year and he's been wearing it every day, and now I think he was just trying to get a free refund. So how do you work around that? So it's how you behave and how you interact with trolls, as much as sometimes you just want to, you can't do anything, but you have to react in the best way that will still represent your brand, and you don't get more bad news coming your way. So all these factors that we have to take into consideration, and because of all of that, the growth of PR has, I would say that it has changed, but become a lot more important in the way we tell our stories, the way we have conversations. It's funny because when I presented this previously, somewhat similar, a PR practitioner came to me and said, can I borrow your deck, because I'm going to use this and ask for a pay raise. Because you'll come to a point, I will show you how the scope has grown. So I feel that this is a more relevant definition of what PR is, which is reaching out to people, consumer at the right time, at the right moment where they need you and they want you and they want to hear from you. That's why I brought up ad blocking, because the reason why people block ads is because they get spammed, and brands are always trying to get into conversations where they are not welcome, they're not invited to, and I don't really want that experience to be, disrupted. So this is what I feel is a lot more important in terms of definition. So content, let's start with content first. How do you work it differently? So what is a bottle of cough syrup doing here? Okay, so how would you market a cough syrup or do a PR around it?
Well, I think you tend to keep distance from people they really care and go through it. So there's some point here.
Okay. How I would do this is, if I'm not coughing, you're not relevant to me. But the thing is, how do you know when your consumer is coughing? Right? So I've learned that sometimes you don't sell the solution, you sell the problem. Instead of telling people, buy cough syrup, it does this for you, it's for chesty cough, it's for phlegmy cough and all, great, but I'm not coughing. I don't really want to hear from you, you're not relevant for me, I'll forget about you. But what you could do is instead, you sell people the problem of having a cough. You know, what are the different types of coughs? You know, what happens to you if you leave a cough for too long and you don't go see a doctor, you don't take cough syrup? When you do that, people will automatically realize that yes, I need cough syrup. But if you just go to someone here and say, here's a cough syrup, I don't really need it. But you can actually start conversations when you talk about something broader. So that's where it comes with content, as in, because PR, you know, for instance, people would think, I'll just do a press release, a media alert on the launch of a cough syrup, a new flavor, something that's longer lasting and all. But like I said, if it's not relevant at that time, where people don't need it, they're not going to listen to you, and they're not going to remember you. So on the contrary, what you could do is come up with content that's relevant, which I mentioned, you know, the different types of coughs. You know, what's the recovery period? When is it, you know, infectious and when is it not? So when you have content like that, you position yourself as a thought leader. And that's when, if I'm really having a cough, and when I really need you, I remember who taught me, you know, should I get my cough syrup, where should I get it, what's the difference, what is the different kind of cough syrup that I need. So when it comes to PR, it's a lot more than just, like I said, some of you would read, more than just press releases and media alerts, but the kind of content that you come up with to generate more content. Because some brands, unfortunately, unless you're Apple, you know, you can say Tim Cook changed the parting of his hair, it becomes news because it's Apple. But you know, if you're a cough syrup brand, you gotta be a bit smarter, you know, in terms of how you want to get coverage, you want to get people to talk about you. So people. Like I mentioned, you know, it's not just the normal journalists, you know, print, media, radio and all. You have your KOLs, you have celebrities, you have everyone and anyone who's now, you know, a spokesperson on something. But the thing is, you know, and of course with social media now, a lot of clients have now, and a lot of brands have started using KOLs, social media. They've learned to realize that, oh, this person has a lot of followers, this person has a lot of views and a lot of comments and likes. But the thing is, it's gotten a bit more complicated, and the thought process has to be a bit more in-depth. Let me give you an example. So, oversaturated KOLs, when you get people to talk about your brand, it's also, you know that it's important to get the right people to talk about your brands, right? But I have a lot of clients up to this point who's, you know, getting used to the whole social media game, coming to me and said, I want this person and I want this person because they have 200,000 followers or 29,000 followers or likes and things like that. But the problem is that they don't see the quality of that particular person they're using. And not just the quality, but in the grand scheme of things, what are the things that they should look out for when choosing the right spokesperson for PR. So for instance, I mentioned Drea Chong. So Drea has 247,000 followers just on Instagram, right? So she did a face gel Instagram, Facebook post for this brand. So I don't know this brand very well, but she did a post on it about 6 weeks ago. And then what happened is, a few days ago, she was pushing for and promoting for SK2, another facial gel or moisturizer. The thing is, what you ask yourself, when I saw it, and I asked myself, I said, so okay, she has great skin. The girl has great skin, by the way. Which product was responsible for that? Was it SK2? Was it Breathe? Or was it the other beauty products that she mentioned if you scroll down to other stuff? That's what I tell my clients to look out for, because a lot of these KOLs, they want to make money. They could make anything from $500 to, I don't know, $1,000, depending on follower and the kind of post they put up per post. They're not going to turn you down. They're not going to say no to extra cash and products. But you need to know when to say no, if they are relevant or not. Because if you're Adidas, one day you're going to get her to do your sport running shoes and all, and then after that, 1 week later, you don't really want her to be wearing Nike, right? So you need to really scrutinize your KOLs and understand what are their commitments. You know, can you go exclusive with them? You know, to make sure that your product doesn't get diluted or forgotten, unless of course you just wanted to talk about, oh, there's a shop opening, today the launch is there, great. But for things like beauty products, where you know it's not SK2 as it calls itself, miracle water, you know that it just doesn't just take one application for you to get glowing skin. So that's why I say it's confusing. So what products is she using that's making her skin look good? So you need to think about that further, and not just because she has a lot of followers. Okay? The other example, the media darling. How do you choose your people again? You know, when Joseph Schooling broke the Olympic record and won Michael Phelps and all, a lot of brands were very eager to jump on it, right? You know, but the thing, and you get extra PR. Some of them did it tastefully, but a lot of them flopped big time. You need to look at a KOL that you're trying to take advantage of and see what did he just achieve. He is a national hero, you know, a national darling, and you just took advantage of them. And a lot of these brands, on the contrary, it became bad PR for them. Because, first of all, they use his photos and his name without his permission, right? And then, of course, like for instance, Brand's Essence, it's inaccurate. He doesn't drink Brand's Essence on chicken, but it looked like, they positioned it such that he looked like he drank it, that's why he broke the world record, Olympic record. So, again, do not always be so eager to jump on it. Always evaluate who is that person you're using. Another example, goat. Do you know what goat means? For those of you, it's the greatest of all times. It came out during the Olympics, just in case. You look at this picture, tell me what do you think is wrong with this photo? Jenna?
Well, racist. Obviously, racist.
Okay, no. Okay, it's a very, very small thing. Look at below the word American. American spelling below the word American. What logo do you see there? Nike logo, right? Michael Phelps is actually sponsored by Under Armour. But the thing is, it was a big hoorah, and Under Armour's PR team were kind of told off very badly, and Nike's PR team had the last laugh because Under Armour didn't check, I think didn't have a thorough conversation with Michael Phelps, is that the USA Olympics team is officially sponsored by Nike. Which means during the games, Michael Phelps wasn't allowed to wear any other brands except Nike. But the thing is, Under Armour overlooked that. They didn't realize that it was as part of their contract and all. So like I mentioned, again, always make sure that you cover all grounds and do enough research on the people who you want to represent your brand. Because sometimes it might not work out very well, and on the contrary, Nike, just based on this photo, he's got a media value of about 475, about almost $500,000 media value just based on this picture, which of course Under Armour wasn't very happy about, but it's not something they can do because it's in his contract. So same thing, if you go to a KOL and they have a contract with someone, please go through it and read it properly, because at the end of the day, you don't want your competitor to have the last laugh. Okay? And then timing. Timing, as I mentioned just now, the second definition of PR, which is hitting people at the right moment, hitting the right time. But it's also about, you know, being inclusive at that moment. Let me share with you what I mean. Okay, first things, Malaysia Airlines. A few months after the two planes and all disappeared, they wanted to get back on their feet and get people to start flying Malaysia Airlines again. So they started a PR campaign called Bucket List. What's a bucket list for? Something to do before you kick the bucket, right? So the timing, the motive behind this campaign, PR campaign, was great, but the timing was so bad. One of the guys commented the PR team should be fired. Because it just doesn't, I'm also not sure how this actually went through. I have no idea. But my rule of thumb, I always told when we run campaigns, is 7-hour flight time. If you want to run a campaign, I always tell myself, because I do the APAC region, right? So I always tell myself, 7 hours flight time anywhere, did something major happen somewhere that if I roll out something, no one's going to get pissed at me. If I'm going to roll out launch a movie about some some guy who died in a fire and his family and all. I have to make sure that there's no one died in a forest fire somewhere in Australia or in Indonesia or something, because people are very sensitive these days, rightfully so. So my benchmark is 7-hour flight time. I mean, feel free to extend it and all, but you can't totally avoid certain things, because some things, if they're so far, it does not have impact on you. But really, you have to make sure that whatever you're rolling out, there's nothing wrong that's going on with the rest of the world, that people will come back, the trolls will come back and slam you on. Okay? The other thing, time. Has anyone seen this by Oreo? So, a few years ago, 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens had a big Super Bowl and all, and then there was a blackout for 34 minutes. So Oreo reacted by rightfully, the ad says you can still dunk in the dark. And people were very impressed with the quickness of their response and how cheeky they are, that actually got shared about 10,000 times within an hour. So timing is also not just about whether it's good or bad timing, but how fast can you react. But this one calls for a bit more from the team, because not every PR, for some of my clients, just to get them to approve something, and they know that, it takes 3 weeks, because regional has to, local, and then regional, and then global, and then it comes back down. By the time the blackout's already gone, So I can't do that. But if your brand, or you think, people you work with, you can execute this, you should. And some of these things you can actually prepare. For instance, Changi Airport Group, Pet Law, what they did good stuff was they prepared already his the artwork, you know that, right? To congratulate Joseph Schooling. They didn't know what his timing was, whether he was going to break a record or he was going to win, but they basically prepared the artwork. They told the client to be on standby, and then as soon as he won, the timing came in, bam, they put it up, it went out, and that was actually, to be honest, the only PR push that actually got positive feedback, and the rest basically just flopped. Okay? The other one is, again, time, which is, now you have Facebook Live, you have Instagram and all. Did anyone watch this video? Okay, so BuzzFeed, I have to admit, I was one of those people, you think I'm very free, who actually watched it. I have no idea why. So BuzzFeed decided, you know what, instead of just constantly putting out videos and articles and all, let's see whether we can get people involved with us, join us live. So what they did, for 40 minutes, 2 BuzzFeed staff with watermelon in the middle put rubber bands after rubber bands after rubber bands after rubber bands just to see when the watermelon would explode. And it's actually quite spectacular, because after that, if you watch back the slow-mo, the watermelon just sorry. But a lot of people tune in for 40 minutes just to see them do that. And I was one of those people, but I tuned in about half an hour towards the end. So that's one of the things that you can do also for PR. That's why PR can be fun. It's the great thing about PR is, people always think it's just press. People who don't know PR, they always think it's just press releases, the boring stuff. But you can do fun stuff like this. People share it, people comment. Why not? The world is your oyster. So if you want, you can even find the video is still there. It's actually quite fascinating. I had no idea that the watermelon kind of looked disformed after a while and it just exploded. With the last one, it's like a symphony. But yeah, go catch it, okay? And then platform. Finding the right platform. When one of the companies I work for was Robert Walters and Ambition. So what they are professional services, recruitment firms. So when Facebook, back then, it was quite long ago, so when Facebook came out, and Twitter and all, I went to the MD and the CEO of the companies and I said, you should have a Facebook account. And then he said, no, who would talk about looking for jobs on Facebook? It's so sensitive. And that's just for your Coca-Cola and F&N and whoever. It's not for us. We are more corporate than that. It's too casual. But the thing is, you can have conversations on the different platforms. So, example, Bank of America. Banking, Goldman Sachs, also banking. But the thing is, Goldman Sachs has no Facebook page. I tried looking for half an hour. If you find it, tell me, but I'm quite sure they don't have, because on their website, the social media buttons, they don't have Facebook also. So, yeah, so so the thing is, Bank of America, they're consumer, retail, banking, and also they have a lot of consumer-facing kind of platforms and products. So rightfully, they're on Facebook. But Goldman Sachs is a bit more different because they're investment banking, right? So they focus on LinkedIn and all. But do you think Goldman Sachs can actually also be on Facebook? Could? I think they could. Even if their products are not relevant to people who are, because they usually target high net worth people, which I'm not, their target audience. They can actually also have Facebook page. Why? They can use Facebook pages for employer-employee branding. Talk about your staff culture. You have to remember that PR is not just about a product launch or a new feature, or putting your CEO on a speaking opportunity and things like that. But it's also PR. Your audience is also your staff, your potential talent hires. So you can have, that kind of conversation on a Facebook platform, which you may not necessarily be able to have on LinkedIn, because your LinkedIn profile is all about corporate messages and all, and sometimes I think you don't want to have too many different types happening on one platform, so you need to be able to choose which platform. But what I would say is don't be so quick to turn down and say no to a certain platform, because there might be opportunities there for you to run your PR campaigns. Data. Everybody talks about data, and to be honest, I'm very scared of the word data. I'm those kind of PR person who's very happy just writing, going through social media profiles and all, but when you talk to me about data, I clamp up, which is funny because I work with Zaxis, which is very, very data driven, because whatever we do, we use data. So how can you use data in your PR campaigns too? So, does anyone know this campaign, KLM? Happy to help. Okay, so basically KLM, what they did was an entire team of people, they basically went through social media, look for all the hashtags of travelers, whatever complaints they have, right? And then even if they're not flying on KLM, they would actually do something for them. For instance, one of the ladies, she tweeted or put up a post saying that, oh no, she's running late for a flight and she hasn't even had time to have a breakfast. She's just ranting online. So the next thing she knew, KLM sent a car to her to pick her up with breakfast in the car, although she wasn't flying KLM. So it's things like that, social media monitoring, reading, understanding what's happening on the ground, make use of your hashtags, find out what people are doing, getting involved in the conversations, simple actions like that. Okay, this one is, let's say simple action. I'm sure you have a team of 20, 30 people, the team, because it's KLM, right? But it's things like that. You can do things like that on a smaller scale. Because, when a lot of people are getting bombarded with brands and content to their faces every day on every single platform, you want to do something that's different and that stands out. And this is actually a good campaign. And the other one, data, Zaxis, what we do is, you can have your own proprietary data. We have a data system that costs like over 50 million. So what our data does, it's a bit freaky, but anonymous, we don't track people. I'll go into a bit what programmatic is. So programmatic, when you go to ASOS and you click on the dress that you like, but you didn't end up buying it, and then all of a sudden the next 1 or 2 weeks, that dress seems to follow you everywhere online. Facebook, whether it's your Straits Times or wherever, it just keeps popping up. That's almost like what we do. Basically, we find out, based on your cookies, where you are, what are you doing, before you buy a car, how long do you stay on a website, what do you talk about, which websites do you visit, who are the competitors you're comparing us with before you buy a dress or a car. So, with those data, we can actually also tell, when are people going for holidays, or during December, what are the top holidays, destinations that people are looking for. So for Zaxis, we did this, where we dug out our data anonymously and, shared things like that. Because there's only so much you can talk about. I can only talk about Zaxis. So we needed to always find new things to stay in the news that's relevant for people, that's value add. So if you have proprietary data from whether it's your CRM system or your survey and all, come up with new content, okay? This is a big thing, authenticity. We all know that, when you go to a party, right, and some guy or girl walks in and go, hey, what's up, hi. immediately the radar goes off in your head. You're like, okay, I'm not going to try to have a conversation with this person. Seems a bit fake. It's the same thing when you go online and have a conversation on social media or whether it's generating content and all. People can sniff you out if you're not being authentic. So again, very eager to use KOLs, part of the PR strategy, but the thing is, you need to control the content that goes online. So I'm sure some of you have seen this Marigold. They're trying to reach out to the younger target audience, also because they have a lot of followers. But the thing is, they got a lot of backlash for this because the KOLs, the way the content that they put up to promote the product just didn't seem real at all. For instance, this guy, Jonathan, he says that the way he beats the heat is to drink a sour juice and cut his hair. Okay, I can kind of believe that, right? But the second one, Naomi, a lot of followers also, she says she walks around with 1 liter carton of Marigold juice everywhere she goes. It's not true, right? I mean, like, small bottle of water bottle is really heavy, so got a lot of backlash for that. And some people even, mention like, who are the people who would actually really buy a 1 liter carton of juice? It's my housewives, my mom buys stuff like that. I don't go to supermarket and pick it up and walk around with it. So I'm not sure whether they thought that just because they have a lot of followers is the right target audience, but even if it is, they're trying to reach new audience segment. Always control. You can, if you're paying them and you're giving them free product, you can tell them what to say to a certain extent, and QC the kind of content that goes up. Okay. Another way of being authentic, it's also to talk to people about real issues, things that matter to heart people, things that actually really affect people. So I'll share with you this PR campaign that this brand in India did. It's a soap brand. What kind of PR can you do for a soap brand, right? I mean, so what they did was they were very good with it. That actually really resonate with this particular video.
मेरी छोटी सी गुड़िया कितनी बड़ी हो गई, घर खेलती थी, अब घर संभालती है, ऑफिस संभालती है. I'm so proud and I'm so sorry. Sorry कि ये सब तुम्हें अकेले करना पड़ा. Sorry कि जब तुम घर खेलती थी तो मैंने तुम्हें रोका नहीं. ये नहीं कहा कि ये सिर्फ तुम्हारा काम नहीं, तुम्हारे हस्बैंड का भी है. पर कहता भी कैसे है. मैंने भी तो कभी तुम्हारी मम्मी की हेल्प नहीं की, और तुमने जो देखा वही सीखा. तुम्हारे हस्बैंड ने भी बचपन में यही देखा होगा. घर खेलते वक्त वो टीवी देखने की या न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ने की एक्टिंग करता होगा, और तुम जैसी कोई छोटी सी लड़की चाय बनाने की एक्टिंग करती होगी. उसके डैड की तरफ से सॉरी, तुम्हारे डैड की तरफ से सॉरी, और हर उस डैड की तरफ से सॉरी जिसने कई सालों से गलत एग्जाम्पल सेट किया. पर अभी भी देर नहीं है. इस सॉरी के साथ मैं अपनी तरफ से एक छोटी सी कोशिश करूंगा कि घर के काम में मम्मी की हेल्प करूं. किचन का किंग ना बन पाऊं तो कम से कम लॉन्ड्री में जाना पड़ाऊं. इतने साल एक गलत एग्जाम्पल सेट किया है, आप कुछ सही कर सकते. तुम्हारा पापा.
It's kind of a good ad, right? Isn't it? Like a good PR piece. I was quite moved by it. I should show my mom. And then there's the other one. Have you guys seen this one? Like the girl? Okay, so I will not play it. But what PR can be about is also not always about your brand and yourself. That's where you can be authentic. A lot of, and I do fall into that too sometimes, like, oh, the client's brand has to be there. The client's product name must be mentioned, and it's always about the client, but sometimes maybe subtlety actually works, and in this case, it wasn't about the issue, it wasn't about the product itself, but it was more about the real issue at hand, and that's very relevant in the Indian community. Okay, so
Cheryl, can I ask you a question here? I know that the focus of your talk is on PR,
yeah,
but these are actually two marvelous commercials. It's essentially where, until the end, you do not know which product they're actually trying to get,
Yeah.
which company is sponsoring this, right? Which company developed this. The first is a P&G product, the second one I think is a feminine hygiene product always, right? I know that you actually sort of suggested it's a PR campaign. I'm thinking that's actually a campaign which essentially moves the brand away from functional stuff, right? Ariel could have actually done a campaign which says it cleans better, it's faster, it's cheaper, and so on, right?
Yeah.
And they can do the same thing with Always, it's more absorbent, it's safer. Yeah. And things which are more functional aspects of it, basically they're moving away from it.
yeah,
And this was started several years ago, as you know, the Dow campaign almost a dozen years ago, essentially was trying to make them not, right? They used to have commercials with 30% more cream, but then they actually started talking about beauty, women and beauty, right? And so they're turning the conversation around in terms of redefining the brand. I was thinking it's more than a PR campaign.
yeah,
It's really a strategic sort of marketing campaign to try and move the needle away from mostly functional stuff that brands essentially are on, to something which gets to be a lot more emotional.
yeah.
And so therefore, when I see these two, that's what strikes me as the most important element that these both brands are trying to achieve. What is your view on it?
Definitely. I mean, you all know that PR is falls under the whole marketing thing. It's a collective effort for the entire marketing, PR team, or branding team to work together to change this. And as you rightly mentioned, a lot of brands these days, even McDonald's, are not just saying buy my cheeseburger. They're selling a lifestyle, an aspiration, a story. Because just going to someone and saying buy my cheeseburger or French fries isn't cutting it anymore. And then you also see McDonald's all of a sudden trying to be part of a healthy lifestyle. The new outlet at East Coast, Salad Bar in McDonald's. I'm still quite baffled by the whole concept, but you can see how, like you mentioned, it's shifting the needle. And the thing is, that doesn't, of course, just take PR. PR will have to help communicate that in the most authentic way possible, but it's the whole marketing function that has to move towards that right direction. But yeah, it's just where everyone's going these days also. And I did mention growth of PR. The gist of it, you get what I mean, because I have no space to put anything else there. It used to be a lot simpler, and all of a sudden, I realized I'm doing a lot more things. And back then when I was doing PR, I was always, oh no, I don't want to have to learn how to use Facebook, Blogspot, and everything. There's too many passwords to remember, and I'm very tech adverse, like I just don't want to be involved in everything. But you just have to be, and that role has really grown a lot. You can't write a press release or a story or come out with a PR campaign if you don't know what people are talking about, if you don't know what people feel about your brand. So that role has grown a lot. In this, you're no longer just a messenger. Client tells you, I want you to talk about my brand this way, give it to the media. It's no longer that. You have to be consultative. And this means changing your perspective, okay? So people always say PR people are storytellers. They say we tell stories, but what happens when you tell someone a story? You sleep, right? You put kids to sleep by telling a story and all. But what I think PR people should be, or should now try to be, is to be conversationalists. Have conversations. Because like I mentioned, ad blocking and all, you can't just go to someone's face and start screaming things. The person's going to ignore you, you're going to look really repulsive. You have to join in conversations and come into it naturally. And say, of course, saying the right things. Okay? General, back then it's so hard to be very targeted. And then you want to put out something, you just go to Business Times, Financial Times, and then it got to, now we can target certain sections, or certain age groups, geographies and all, but these days you can be a lot more targeted, not just the way people, what devices are they on, what time do they usually serve, like for instance, if you want to reach younger people, the kind of content, maybe you put up content at 12 a.m., I think. I'm usually asleep by then, but maybe the younger crowd, they don't see a post until like 10 a.m. when they're up. No one under the age of 18 wakes up at 7 a.m. maybe, unless you have school at 7 a.m. Quantity, like I mentioned, a lot of clients up here always push for quantity. I want the person with the most followers, I want the person with the most clicks, I want the person with the most likes, and also at the same time, I would ask them, but what's your business objective, right? Quantity sounds very cliche, but it's really quantity versus quality. Why not? Like I do tell some of my clients when they wanted to use certain KOLs and all, or even certain media or trade publication, I said I'd rather you be targeted, get the right conversions and the right attention, than go mass just because a person seems to have a lot of following, or that my magazine seems to have a lot of following, and then you don't get anything else in return. And also brand safety, you end up on the wrong platform. The wrong person talks about you. They don't talk about you in the right way. It's like the real friends versus the kind of number of friends you have on Facebook, right? Traditional, it used to be very traditional. It still is. I'm not saying that traditional media is not important. It's still important, but the thing is, you need to think of how you're going to marry it with digital. PR campaigns, messaging and all. How does what you communicate offline, how does it go online? How do you interact with people? Maybe for offline, traditional, it's a bit harder. You do media activation, brand activation, but you can foster and increase relations and interaction online to it. How do you make use of the different tools that you have? Traditional and digital should and can support each other. Multiple, like I mentioned just now, we have more than one devices these days. Where do you talk to people? How do you reach out to them? Putting out the right messages. But the thing is, it's not just multiple devices, it's cross devices, cross screens. You think that the best, for instance, this is slightly more like an advertising thing, but you put out an ad, a KFC ad on the TVC. But the thing is, what do you do when a TV ad comes up? You go to the bathroom, you pick up your phone, you look at Facebook. So how do you reach out to people cross-screen? Anticipate when they would get certain kind of messages. So work your campaigns around it, that the consumer behavior isn't as normal and linear as it used to be. So it's, multiple devices, cross screens. And then more importantly, it's also measurement. At this point, one of my biggest pain with clients telling me is that I want, my CEO to be on TV. It doesn't matter how many media coverage I've gotten them online, like for instance, Her World Digital mentions them, Simply Her mentions them, this KOL or this journalist mentioned this person, all online. I have a client who comes and tells me, I don't care, those are not important. I want a full page Straits Times article. I want Channel News Asia coverage. I don't care about online. The media, what's the media value for that? The PR value for that? I need to show my management. And I want to know the number of clicks. By the way, clicks are not accurate form of measurement for your campaigns, in case you are basing your campaigns and all, because there are things like bot farms, click fraud and all, so do not rely on that. But the thing is, you have to understand what are the different kind of measurements that you want, whether are you trying to encourage conversion sales, get people to just increase your brand awareness. If so, how are you going to track brand awareness through PR? That's a tricky thing about PR. People always ask, how do you measure ROI on PR? And they always just ask whether it's a PR value or an estimation here and that, but I still have clients saying, I still want my Straits Times coverage. I don't care about everything else. As long as you get my Straits Times coverage and the Today coverage, you call it the Tier 1 media, right? I'm sure some of you know that those kind of media, they're considered Tier 1. But the thing is, Tier 1 media these days aren't exactly the Tier 1 that they should be. How many of you still buy newspaper? Straits Times? No, right? So that's That's an argument I actually had with a client because she got featured on the Straits Times Online, but not on the print ad, on the print newspaper. And she refuses to take that as a calculation of our efforts for her. But unfortunately, like I said, you have to change your mindset and perspective. So that's it. I hope I didn't overrun the half. Any questions? I hope I managed to share some interesting things.
Hi, Cheryl. My name is Ali. I work at the school. This has been here for a long time. So everything you said totally reasonable with me. My question is, you just mentioned on measurement. How do you convince a client on the quality over quantity, or quality over quantity issue, and also to ditch the I want my brand to be seen everywhere kind of approach, so that I maximize my ROI? How do you convince them to ditch that kind of
To be honest, it's usually a risk. For instance, if I have good case studies that's why you constantly have to read. So if I come across a good case study, I tell my client, this is what happens when you do it this way, this is what happens when you don't do it this way. A lot of times you do get a lot of pushbacks, and sometimes it's not the direct PR person that's giving me the grief, it's the CEO or the MD who's a lot older in age, who is not as maybe up to date or current, because they are not marketing people, they're not PR people, they're business people, and they probably don't even have an Instagram account, and also to them all of that is foreign. So we help them. I try to understand what's the relation first. If it's just the PR person being reluctant to accept that kind of new measurement, then case studies, and then I'll just put my neck on the line and say, let's look at it for the next campaign. But if I realize that she's actually accepting of it, it's just her CEO, which is a bit more old school, then that's where I try to help her convince him and to have that conversation where, you know what, you may not understand, just because you don't understand a certain platform, you're not a big advocate of, say, digital or Facebook and all, it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. So some of them, a lot of clients are actually pretty okay. After a while, they kind of, if they see the results, they say okay. But there's some who are still very dead set on it. So if that happens, then yeah, they will realize it, I'm sure.
Yeah, sure. My name is Matt.
Hello.
I'm an exchange student here in Singapore, so I'm interested in branding on the stuff. And I have one question for you. So you mentioned about this transfer of place from traditional media to digital media, like in Web 2.0, but now we're approaching to this multi-web. So what do you think will be the trend from all this digital media sources?
There's one thing that we say in Zax is that one day everything will be digital. As in, traditional media will become so obsolete. Your print ads, your print magazines and all, and even the traditional TV channels, Netflix, Hulu, you're seeing it now already, that I'm not sure how many of you still go back and watch the terrestrial TV and Korean drama and all. You don't, right? Usually if you know there's good drama online, what my mom does is she still watches Channel U, but after that she goes on YouTube and she finds a series online or somewhere. She finishes it even before Channel U airs all the episodes. So everything's going digital. That's really the case, and a lot of businesses, even SPH, has seen their revenues drop for traditional advertising and all, so that's why they're now focusing on digital. So I wouldn't say it's an upcoming trend, it's really going that way. Everything will really be digital. So I think companies, as I myself, I'm also trying to learn how then do we accurately measure performance and results if everything's going to go digital.
PR agencies are doing some advertising agency stuff, and I know that Evan has recruited someone senior,
Yeah.
who
It's true, a lot of, like, not just Element, Weber, Chenwick, Hill and Norton, they're actually building up and hiring people, in case you're interested, if you're, and you have a skill set, to be more integrated. It's no longer just a normal PR agency, the traditional style. Everyone now has a digital arm, a social media arm, they do social media monitoring, and then you have your brand activation and all. That's why when you notice the campaigns that I talk about here, I don't really, there's no examples of press releases on anything that's very traditional. They're all very integrated. And the thing is, like I mentioned, advertising used to be on their own, but even sometimes I have clients who come to me and say, oh, by the way, I have my creative agency, I found them, I've signed them on. Can you be my PR agency? And then I have a social media agency somewhere else. And I said, it's very hard if you want to do that. If I were you, to be honest, whether you go with me or not, it's to find an agency that does all together and sit as a team, because you really need to have everyone working together to have that conversation. Because what happens is, one of my previous clients, she insisted on doing that. So she had a social media agency, was doing their own thing, and an advertising agency, and we did PR for her. So what happened was she launched a new product, a cosmetic line, for a very popular Hong Kong brand, and we launched it with PR, media event and all. But we didn't know that she wasn't having that, because she didn't have that conversation with the social media team, which we did not have access to. But what happened was the kind of campaign they were running, the kind of things we were talking about online, were not in sync at all. And when we have a media coverage, we say, hey, we had a very big media interview for the founder, it's on CME. We wanted to get the media, the social media agency to feature it and to share it, but there was a lot of red tape. The social media agency was like, oh no, that's not our content, we have our own content lined up already. So you do get a lot of things like that, and it's definitely, like you mentioned, a lot of agencies they realize that you have to be integrated for pure business sense too, because if not, then you have to carve up the business revenue pie, and yeah.
I heard you talking about blog for advertising. I've worked in advertising for like a few months, and I feel like even though it's spam ad, for example, EDM, it also makes sense to do because it creates revenue, something like that. So what is your solution to ad block? Should you go for ad even though it's spam or not?
I think the thing with ad block, first of all, if you're blocked already, then no matter what you want to do, you spend the resource and the time to create that ad content that's not going to reach anyone. Then you ask yourself, is it even worth doing it, or should I do something else to reach out people on other platforms? Because if your target audience are not receiving your ads and it's going to spam, then you ask yourself, what's happening to that resource, right? So, but like I said just now, I brought up ad blocking because PR is a good complement to it, to come up with content, because ads, that's it, you create something that you want to tell people, you shout it to their faces, they block you or they don't block you, that's it. But the one that really substantiates your story that you're trying to push out is the PR. Like I said, cough syrup, you put out a poster, TVC, someone's coughing, oh okay, probably spend $500,000 at TVC, airtime and all, great. But the thing is, people don't need you, they won't remember you. But what you can support with is, when it comes to that, is PR, where you talk about the differences of the kind of coughs, how does it work, what should you give the kids, what should you not give the kids. All of a sudden you become more than just a brand that's trying to be in my face all the time. You're trying to share knowledge with me. And I would much appreciate that more than spamming in my face. Yeah.
Cheryl, one of the issues that I think you talked about, authenticity. Increasingly, firms are using bloggers, people with great following on Instagram. I think the most recently, Kim Kardashian sort of put a Twitter, which essentially, I believe, was paid $60,000 or something. Now, this actually creates a problem. I think in the general sense, when you actually have, like Tiger Woods as a brand ambassador for Nike, we know that this guy's paid millions of dollars, and so we know exactly where he's coming from. But many of these things are not so clear.
Yeah.
Right? So the question now is, because there's no regulation essentially which addresses this issue. So when I see, obviously Kim is probably not the best example, but people who are not well known but have large following, in Instagram, essentially will endorse a product or actually do that. So, but we don't know what actually is going on behind. Whether they've been given the free product, whether they actually have been paid for actually sort of posting it and so on. So it's sort of the line in terms of being objective, authentic, sort of a review or a comment or essentially is no longer very clear. So what is your sense in terms of where the direction is going? Yeah, so what is going on in companies when they do that? Yeah. Do they realize that maybe the message essentially will get tainted if somebody finds out that you have actually paid money for this person to actually comment or provide a positive review?
For us, whenever we do campaigns like that, I always tell my clients, never ever pay the KOL or the bloggers, no matter what. Even though they have the budget, I would always tell them, do not pay them. Because when people find out, it's not gonna look good on you. And we're all very cynical. I am pretty cynical because I know what goes on behind, right? So, you know, whenever someone reviews a restaurant and says something really nice, you probably go, of course she's gonna say something nice. The restaurant gave her a free meal. Or, you know, or the restaurant gave, SK2 gave her this product. What's she gonna do, slam it? You know, so that's why I say you have to choose your target audience, your KOL very well also. Some KOLs are they're quite upfront. They'll tell you if it's an editorial or not. Some do not, because if you do not put this editorial, you try to pass it out as negative content and things like that. You know, clients are willing to pay more. But the thing is, I think brands, to be honest, know that consumers are not stupid. They are aware that this is a sponsored gift, this is a sponsored item, they're getting paid for it. Brands are just doing it for the sake of putting their products or services out there, you know. And I did talk to my client about this. She's like, oh, do you think that it's very obvious that this is a sponsored ad for this, because we have a client of a music festival coming out? I said, I think it is obvious that we did give away free tickets. That's why the KOL is doing a little contest shout out to raffle it off. But what we want is to just create the buzz and all, right? We're not trying to say that, you know, my product is gonna make my skin glow in 2 applications, you know, things like that. So I said, as long as you're not falsifying anything, you try to be as authentic as possible, and the first step is to not pay the KOLs. They're gonna all kill me after this goes out. Obviously, they're gonna troll me and all, but I feel that you should not pay, because as soon as you pay, it's just a given that I expect you to say something nice about them. And that makes your words, you know, doesn't hold any weight to me, then your review is not accurate.
I have a question about the authenticity of the content. As in, is it a legal requirement for them to like say upfront, like, hey, I received certain things from this particular brand, or
Okay, I know that bloggers and KOLs, they have to declare these days for taxes and all, any gifts that they get. That's one on the side, but they're not legally bound to mention it and say that it's a sponsored post or it's an editorial. Yeah. Some of them have a bit more integrity, they mention it, and they make it obvious. Some of them don't, and I'm sure some of them, you've seen them, because I think there was one where, I think it was Xia Xue, the PR agency crafted the content for her, and she forgot to delete the bottom line, and she just uploaded the entire thing like that. And then it says, how is this, when can I get your approval or something like that for this post? So, yeah, that's why I said, just be authentic. That's why we never tell bloggers what to write. We give them the product. We just tell them, okay, this is 1 liter marigold, retail price is this, you can find it in these places. These are the core messages. Other than that, you decide what you want to write. Yeah. Because you never know, that same blogger could just turn around one day to his friends and say, oh my god, you know, Marigold paid me like half $1,000 to write on this, but it's crap. I don't really like it. I don't drink it. Yeah.
if you are not paying them, like in your FK, for example, if you are not paying them, how can you make sure that they're going to sign contract with you and not posting the sponsoring brand?
You can't, okay, first of all, unless you sign a contract with them and you pay them for exclusivity, they're not going to say no to other brands. That's one. So, and as with, whether it's blogger, KOL, or the media coverage, me sending a press release to CNN doesn't mean it will cover my story. You never guarantee it, to be honest. That's why you have to do whatever you can to make sure the content is great, it's relevant, and it's timely. I will never guarantee my client coverage. It's unless it's something that we're sure of, or that's going to be paid. But if it's paid, then it's a different story altogether.
Very good. Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much.